A second blind wine. Jump in.
Slightly more muted on the nose. It's not giving as much aromatics. Definitely more brambly fruit profile, more like plum skin for me. There's sweet herb there and sweet spices, which makes me think that there's more oak on the wine.
The concentration in the mouth is fuller. There's more alcohol. But still quite soft with tannin. I mean, there's texture and there's more tannin than the last wine, but
yeah, more tannin. It hits differently on the palate. It doesn't feel like stem tannin that sort of creeps around your gums and plays in your mouth that way. It feels a little more sugary on the palate almost. With that, it's definitely not sweet.
No.
But the way it sits on the palate just feels a little more like coating down the tongue. And it feels like there's like the tannins are filling in the fruit tannins together. So that it almost feels like a fruit roll-up as well.
Yeah, totally. It's interesting because it's not like necessarily very acidic, but there's a brightness to the fruit in that sense, right? Like,
yeah. Yeah, spice and fruit and that kind of ripe fruit sweetness flavor.
Yeah, there actually is quite a bit more tannin. But.
Yeah. Bit digested, the fruit tannin as well, but then the woodsiness, oak or. It feels like the oak is coming out more on my palate.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a younger wine that the fruit isn't coming out as much on. Because I feel like the fruit is a little shy in comparison to the structure. You're getting some of that cinnamon spice though as well.
Yeah.
And a little more high-toned, like fruit ripeness on the nose.
Did you guys go through where you thought price point was, where you thought it was approachable?
I mean, the wine to me feels a little more shut down and a little more tightly wound right now. So I kind of feel like it's maybe needs to have a little more air or a little more time to open up. It really starts to build on the palate as well, the length. So I think it's probably higher priced. It just seems to have a little bit more, like more oak, more extraction, more tannin profile on it. It's still, it's still easy drinking. But it just feels like it needs more time to open up for me. So maybe slightly higher priced than the last wine that just seems ready to go straight out of the glass. Needs food.
Yeah, food would be helpful. It's interesting though because the fruit seems to be moving away as opposed to like opening up more.
Mm-hmm. The oak is coming out more.
Oaks, oaks
yeah.
more, and I'm getting a little bit more of
The alcohol lift as well.
exactly, yeah. It's not like there's a really high tone thing that's like there's not a unacceptable amount of ethyl acetate, but there's that like
A varnish note.
varnish, yeah.
Where does this lead you guys in terms of food? What kinds of food would you suggest to a guest if they had this wine in their glass?
Probably something a little more robust. Maybe something also with more like stewed tomatoes or things like that that have some lift to it as well, or
Yeah, I mean some protein would be helpful. In
Yeah.
Any way.
I kind of want rabbit.
Rabbit would be great.
I don't know why. I never think about eating rabbit, but there's something about this wine that's
With some, with like a little bit of pork fat.
yeah, or maybe like some like dried fruits, like like date or dried apricots, or I don't know,
Just like a bridge there.
Yeah, like a bridge to release some of the fruit in this wine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or prunes or a tagine or something like that that has some like earth and sweetness to it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys have thoughts on regional?
Feels more Mediterranean to me, I think.
Yeah.
Slightly thicker skinned grape. It feels warm still.
Mm-hmm.
Slightly raisined, unfinished.
The only place that I was thinking like France-wise would be something like Southern Rhone, but it's much more sort of Mediterranean.
Oh, like Massive Central or
Yeah.
something like that, yeah. That sort of bridge area into northern Spain, that area. Maybe like Tuscany as well. Like there's something there that's like hints at like prune and herbs for me.
Mm-hmm.
That sometimes reminds me of like an Italian 8 character from like mid-central to northern Italy.
With a more sort of modern oak program than, we're not talking the...
Not as traditional,
Yeah.
Does it inform your thinking on what you're tasting if I tell you that I opened the first wine this morning and this is a wine I opened yesterday
Mm.
in terms of oxygen?
That kind of explains why the fruit seems to go away as opposed to like opening up more.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know, maybe some of that stem sappiness is still in there, wound up in the oak, but
Does it start to make you think like California?
yeah, there's a sort of slightly herbal edge. hint of like bitterness on the finish that is actually nice and refreshing. I quite like. I don't know.
You guys ready?
Sure.
It's confusing now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Pinot. There's the sweet oak.
That's funny. Yeah. Huh.
So Bree, in the immediate, you made this wine. What's your reaction to tasting it and going through your whole run through of how you perceived it? First and foremost, just are you mad at me for pouring for you blind? Is there an emotional thing of like, oh, you got me, or
No. I mean, I think that you see the oak on this in that mid palate. For me, I think you also see the more of that foresty clonal pomard selection. I'm trying to remember how much whole cluster there might be on this. I don't think there's much whole cluster on this. I think it's more the new oak that's integrated into this blend is what I'm seeing on the palate. I think it's also one of the challenges that you see in Willamette Pinot Noir these days is that there's like a sort of a blocky, greener tannin profile, whereas the sweet fruit ripeness can drop out a little because of the heat of the vintages that we're getting. And so I think the vines struggle. I mean, I don't get much desiccation. There's a hint of raisin on the back palate, but
Which is not something I get when it's like freshly opened either.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that chasing that fruit with a lot of air when you're half open and been shaken up all day and
Slushing around,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think that this shows kind of, Willamette Pinot, where you get that green edge, you get that blocky green tannin edge, and you're sacrificing fruit sweetness and fruit generosity in the mid palate, but you get to a point where you can't let the fruit hang anymore because the sugars are just accelerated so high, but the flavor development isn't there.
How is the acid reacting with these like shorter seasons too? Are you actually like seeing higher sugar with higher acid, or are you seeing a lot of like a similar sort of drop that kind of?
It depends on the season. If we're having warm nights, we're getting the malic dropping out with the pH, with the pH increase.
Yeah. But then you have something where your tartaric's pretty stable, and then so you're not seeing as much shift.
Depends on the site. Older vine sites hold the acid better.
Yeah.
Younger vines, they drop out, and it's just.
This is like in Michigan, we just see this point where it's like I don't get to make the picking decisions because I'm not big enough, but like I'd much rather pick where my acid number is right than where the sugar's right, and like it just becomes this point where you're just like the acid starts to drop way faster than you're accumulating sugar, and
Yeah. I mean, we don't have the sugar accumulation problem.
Right.
I feel like the sugar races. I think what the problem is the flavor development.
Yeah, and so we're hanging toward, like, basically we couldn't hang any longer because of the season, but we're still in October when we're picking. So
Yeah. Whereas this is mostly old vines with some young vine 115. But yeah, I don't think it's, I don't know. I don't think it's, I mean, it's showing a little more sappiness. There's not a whole lot of Newark, maybe 15% Newark on there.
It's
I feel like
interesting
you
that that's
can
like
feel it.
showing
Yeah.
it, showing it
Yeah.
more. 'Cause, like,
And yeah, and I think the barometric pressure yesterday was quite up and down.
yeah, so that's actually a lot of stress on the wine, right? Like open wine.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see where it's. I don't think I've probably drunk this wine on the second day.
Your guys' notes are very different than what my impression of this wine was tasting it yesterday morning.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I mean, it's different than my impression of tasting yesterday.
Yeah, it doesn't taste like the same wine. Yeah, it's very subdued today. Doesn't feel like very. There's almost no aromatics there on the nose. It doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me wish
Whereas yesterday I was really struck by the fruit right away. It was
Yeah.
just a very
And I didn't put it in the fridge overnight. It makes me wish I had. So.
interesting thing here too for this particular wine for us of thinking about day 2 showing and how you present this versus when we had it in our bags. What we learned with
You
that.
know, and then there's just something about like, yeah. So yesterday there was a ton of shifts as far as pressure. It was in a full bag that you're hefting around, and it was a full day in the bag and moving between many places. So there's a lot of agitation and shaking and thinking about how that changes it, as opposed to like if you open it and taste it and then keep it stable and there's a good amount in the bottle and how it shows differently. And it's all good information to have too, because you can then relate it to a glass pour program and think about how that's going to be and what is the environment. Is it a bottle that's being opened and then put into a server window and the server's taking it and pouring it at the table, or is it staying in a more controlled environment where it's being poured and then closed, and what is their program for maintaining the bottles overnight, and knowing how it reacts differently in different situations helps you sort of inform better for that.
Yeah.